Are you trauma bonded? Well, I guess the better question to start with is, have you heard the term trauma bond? If not, you are so not alone. And while this term sounds extremely clinical and definitely a bit overwhelming, I'm here to tell you that not only is it one of the biggest keys to recovery, but it's something that's probably holding you back in more areas than one. If you've experienced an abusive relationship and you feel any guilt at all for leaving, you're definitely trauma bonded. Now, this isn't something to feel guilty for, and it isn't anything to beat yourself up over. Instead, becoming aware of what a trauma bond is and how it's affecting your life can actually save you years, and yes, I mean years down the road. But before I get too deep into it, if this is your first time hanging out, welcome. My name is Karleigh Saunders. I'm a confidence and abuse recovery coach, and I'm here to not only help you heal from the abuse that you endured, but I'm here to help you build the skill of confidence and step into the life that you deserve. So, what the heck is a trauma bond anyway? In short, a trauma bond is the connection your brain has created to the abuser. It has become not even almost, it's become addicted to the abuser. Whereas your brain is constantly wanting their attention, wanting to be with them, and this can cause many uncomfortable side effects. These connections keep our brain from wanting to move on. They want to stay put and they want to stay connected to this person. If you've ever been in a relationship where you wanted to leave, but you felt like you couldn't, or you did leave and you feel guilty for leaving, chances are you're trauma bonded. Now, like I said, it's nothing to beat yourself up over. It's a normal response, albeit an unhealthy one, to being stuck in the cycle of abuse, especially when you've been in there for 1, 2, 10 years. Yeah, this stuff sticks with you. So it's not surprising. However, that doesn't mean that you're permanently stuck. So if I've piqued your curiosity and you're now wondering if you have a trauma bond, I'm going to share with you the 7 signs that you have a trauma bond. And then I'm going to be doing a video later on very soon. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to not only be aware of these bonds, but to break them and find freedom. So let's go. Sign number 1, a constant pattern of non-performance. They've shown you time and again and again and again that they're not going to change. They've proven to you with their actions that they are not going to get any better. However, you still have this longing and belief deep in your soul that if you just stay long enough, if you just last long enough, that they'll come around. You truly, down to your core, want to believe that they will change, even though they've given you every reason to know that they won't. Number 2, others are disturbed by what's happening, but you're not. It's a situation where your friend comes up and goes, "Oh my gosh, why are you letting him talk to you that way?" Or, "He seriously is telling you how to dress? That's so controlling." And your response is, "Well, he's just looking out for me. Well, he's just protective. All guys are, you know. He just wants to keep me safe." By justifying away the controlling behavior and abuse, you are telling your brain that what you're going through is okay when everyone around you is worried about you. That's a major sign of a trauma bond. Number 3, you feel stuck because they're being destructive. You feel like they are your responsibility. You don't want them to destroy themselves or anyone else. And you feel like you are the glue keeping them together, and that if you finally leave, the worst is going to happen. Number 4 is very similar to 3, except that their destruction becomes your personal responsibility. Here's what I mean. Let's say I go to a restaurant and I take my 6-year-old with me. My 6-year-old has a moment, throws a temper tantrum, or just gets too excited and he breaks a vase in the restaurant. Because I'm his mother, it is my job to make sure that I pay for that vase. I do what I can to make up for the destruction that my 6-year-old caused, because it's not like my 6-year-old can do it. And because he's 6, he doesn't have full control over himself anyway, right? And it's my responsibility as mother to step up and take care of it. Well, that same mindset we have when it comes to our partners, the person, the abuser in the abusive relationship. We feel like anything they break, it's our responsibility to fix. We create this kind of mother energy where we chase after them, we clean up their messes, and we want to make sure that we're there apologizing every time they mess up. Whether it's them saying something rude, being disrespectful, or actually physically breaking something, we feel like it is our job to step up to the plate and make sure it's taken care of. Because in our mind, they just don't know any better. When in reality, yes, they do. You also feel like it's your personal responsibility to get them to stop being chaotic and destructive in the first place. You do everything you can. You beg, you plead, you make changes. You do everything within your power to get them to change. It never works, but you try, and you're convinced that if you just do one more thing, everything will get better. Sign number 5, repetitive damaging fights. This is basically where you have the same fight over and over, and it gets absolutely nowhere. You have the same fight, it just causes more damage, and it never seems to go anywhere. All you're doing is saying the same thing on repeat in circles, kind of like how I've done here. It's really that simple. However, these things are something that I've personally experienced, is something that can be the worst, because it's like, I just want you to understand, why do I feel like I'm saying the same thing? Why do I feel like I'm talking in circles? Why does he tell me that I'm nagging him when I just want this one thing to change? Yeah, that's a sign of a trauma bond. Sign number 6, you feel physically unable to detach from them. You actually kind of have an inkling you want to leave. Maybe not want to, but you know that you need to. However, it feels like you actually can't. The idea of leaving feels non-existent. Like, it feels just like a pipe dream. Not even a pipe dream. It just feels like something that isn't even possible. You may as well say, hey, go flap your arms and you'll fly like a bird, right? It's that same feeling. You can't even fathom that it's even possible. And number 7 ties in very close. You try to leave, but it causes you physical pain. This is one of the hardest parts of leaving an abusive relationship, especially when it comes to the trauma bond. When you leave, because of your brain's addiction, you actually experience physical pain. You may as well be ripping your own arm off when you leave, because it hurts so bad. You feel like you're missing a part of yourself and you don't know what to do. Your brain doesn't know how to handle it, and you could be writhing on the floor in very physical pain, even though it may seem like no big deal, you just left. Your body is literally going through withdrawal and it physically hurts. I've been through this, and yes, it really does hurt that bad. I remember when I got out, and when I say got out, I mean kicked out. I was 100% discarded. Looking back, I am so grateful. But the thing was, is I remember laying on the floor crying for 3 days. I couldn't get myself to move. I could hardly get up to go to the bathroom. My body was in so much physical pain. It felt like a part of me had been ripped out. My chest hurt. My body hurt. There was nothing that I could do to make the pain go away, because I was trauma bonded. So first off, if you feel guilty for leaving your abuser, this is why. Your brain has created a trauma bond with this person. And it's not as easy as just get over it. This takes time. It takes patience. It takes work. So please give yourself grace. Here very soon, I believe tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping a video about how to break these trauma bonds. So if you want that video, please make sure that you subscribe, so that way you can come back, because I don't want you to miss it. This is extremely important and definitely overlooked by most people when it comes to these abusive relationships. In order to heal, you have to break these trauma bonds. If you don't focus on them first, it makes it extremely difficult along the way. Trust me, I know. I avoided the whole concept of trauma bonds for a very long time, and all it did was stunt my growth. It wasn't until I faced these bonds and I went through the work, and yes, pain, in order to work through it and get over it, that I began to make real progress. And I can tell you now, being on the other side of it, it's so freeing. It's not easy, and it is something that I have to actively work towards every day. But I have come so far, and there's not enough money in the world to get me to go back. Now that I've experienced freedom, I have no desire to do anything else. And I don't say that to brag, but I want you to see that as inspiration. I want you to see that as what's possible. If you are there right now, if you are trauma bonded, if you're relating to this and you are just wanting more, but you don't think you can do it, I'm here to tell you that you can. If I can do it, as cliche as it sounds, anyone can do it. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be quick. It takes time. You have to give yourself grace. You're going to slip up, and that's okay. You are human, but you're so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram. My link will be in the description. My DMs are always, always open. I check them every day. So if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. And never forget that you are strong, you are capable, you're intelligent, And boo, you are so freaking worthy.